Tic Tac Toe is a simple game played on a grid that's typically 3 squares by 3 squares. Here's how you play. Setup. Start with an empty grid. One player uses X's and the other player uses O's. Decide who will be X and who will be O. Turns. Players take turns placing their symbol X or O in an empty square of the grid. X goes first, then O, then X again, and so on. Goal. The goal is to get 3 of your symbols in a row, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Winning. If a player successfully gets 3 of their symbols in a row, that player wins the game. Draw. If all squares are filled and no players has 3 in a row, the game ends in a draw. Here's what three in a row looks like. Horizontal, 3 X's or O's lined up in a row from left to right. Vertical, 3 X's or O's lined up in a column from top to bottom. Diagonal, 3 X's or O's lined up diagonally from one corner to another. Yes, this Java program implements the logic for playing tic-tac-toe. Let's break down how the programmer has implemented each step. Setup. The tic-tac-toe board class initializes an empty 3 by 3 grid in the constructor tic-tac-toe board. It sets up the board with blank marks initially. 2. Turns. The set mark method allows players to place their marks X or O on the board. It checks if the provided row and column are within the bounds of the board and if the mark is valid, either blank, X mark, or O mark. If the conditions are met, it sets the mark on the board. Goal. The determine winner method checks if there's a winner by examining the rows, columns, and diagonals of the board. It iterates over each row and column to check if all 3 squares in a row or column have the same mark, X mark or O mark. It also checks the diagonals. If it finds a winning condition, it returns the winning mark. Otherwise, it returns blank if there is no winner yet. Winning. If the determine winner method returns X mark or O mark, it means a player has won the game. Checking square availability. The available square method checks if a square on the board is available for placing a mark. It verifies if the provided row and column are within the bounds of the board and if the square is currently blank. Overall, the programmer has implemented the logic for playing tic-tac-toe step by step, providing methods for setting marks, checking for a winner, and checking square availability and clearing the board.